Okay, sorry about the late start there, gentlemen. Some of us in the backstage were showing in some stories, and I completely lost track of time. Well, it's Veterans Day, so first of all, Happy Veterans Day to all of you who wore the uniform, and to all of your relatives who wore the uniform. Your sacrifices, despite what it may look like, were not in vain. You did keep the country going for at least another few years. Whether it keeps going, that's the question. But tonight we're going to be talking about something that is kind of atypical for Veterans Day. We're not going to necessarily be talking about the holidays we missed with relatives. We're going to be talking about the holidays that we didn't expect to get, that we were actually able to go home and see our families and friends, as well as sharing some different recipes that we have over, or that we've accumulated over the years that we either associate with the holidays or that we just make up when we need to feel like we are having a holiday. So before this goes too dark and into the weeds, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the panel that we have for tonight, starting with the ones that I know are currently here. Outlaw, when you're back, please shoot me a message in the private chat and I will bring you on. We have our sailor brethren, Tommy D.
Good evening, gentlemen and ladies.
Our infantrymen from the Great White North, Sean St. George. And
everybody.
Again, as soon as I know he's back, we will bring on MGTOW Outlaw.
There he is.
All righty. All right, Outlaw, you're still muted, but you're on.
All right, there we go. Sorry about that.
Yeah, not a problem. I know I stream a little earlier than a lot of the other guys do, so that does kind of mess with some of y'all's planning, and I do apologize for that.
Oh, you're perfectly fine, brother.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we jump into the meat and potatoes of this, just everyone on the panel, what do the holidays mean to you, just in general? Not just the big ones that we're in the middle of right now, but in general, what does the holiday season mean to you? Tommy, you want to go first?
You know, the holidays really don't affect me either way. I really don't care, other than they start playing Christmas music too early, and I can't stand it.
And it gets earlier every year, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's the same three songs over and over and over again by different artists. Fuck that
Yeah,
shit.
you're not wrong.
He's not wrong.
No,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely enough to make you want to go and start something at random in a very unpleasant fashion.
I usually just go hermit, stay away from it.
Okay, Outlaw. I know you're as the only non-military guy on the panel tonight. What do the holidays in general mean to you?
Well, it's sort of a somber time of the year. I think about all those family members that I've lost over the years. So it for me it's more of it's a depressing time of the year, honestly, because it reminds me of a time when we used to get together as a family and you'd sit around the dinner table and granddad would say grace and then everybody would just start conversing with one another. And every year it seems like there's one more person that leaves this world, and I got to be honest with you, I don't really care for them.
Okay.
They seem empty.
That is perfectly fair, and hopefully, at least for tonight, we can help you dredge up the more positive memories from those periods of time.
But the food's great. Food's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And like
Okay,
Tommy said,
Sean.
music gets on my last nerve.
Oh yeah. God.
Yeah, I think I'm like many of the others on the panel where the holidays, well, I usually missed about 95% of them, uh, either due to being in the field, being deployed, one reason or another, being 5,000 miles away from home. It's not like you have very many opportunities to get back home and like get together with family and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned to become a little, I guess you could say, insensitive to the holidays. I know what they mean for everybody else, and when I can get there, I try to join in, but life just
Gets
life
in the way.
gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, honestly, I'm kind of in the same boat you guys are. For me, the holidays are not necessarily always a time for celebration, but more of endurance. And I personally look at the holiday season as a 2 to 3 month period of, okay, there's a few days I know I'm going to enjoy, but most of the time I'm going to want to have earplugs whenever I walk into Wally World.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
At least Barnes and Noble plays the same garbage music year round.
This is true. I don't even know if we've got one of those around here anymore. I think they all closed.
Yeah.
And don't even get me started on how bad the music that they pipe in Target has always been.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I can imagine.
I know we give Tommy D a little bit of flack for drinking rainbow water, but I'll admit it. I go to Target from time to time because there are certain things that Walmart doesn't carry that Target does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That I don't particularly want to deal with, or Amazon to try to get a hold of.
Right.
Mhm.
So, but
Rainbow
for me,
water.
being that what I refer to as chronically single, the holidays are to put it politely, they're a pain
Mm-hmm.
because I keep seeing these lovely, happy couples going around enjoying the holiday, and I'm sitting back going, cool, when's it my turn to actually have someone to share that with instead of living vicariously through my relatives and coworkers?
Having been there and done that, it's not what it looks like.
No,
Yeah,
it
but
definitely sucks for a little bit, but at the same time, you kind of remember a lot of bad experiences. So it's like
it's a
sometimes
dual-edged
it's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a dual-edged sword. I will admit that.
Mm.
And as with everything, you got to have balance.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a personal thing about Thanksgiving in particular that I'm not going to go into here because it will turn me from being someone who's relatively easy to get along with into a raging a-hole. And
Yeah, we don't need to get
not
into
inviting you
that.
tonight.
Yeah. No need to get into that at the moment.
So, for those of you guys that have been in the military, I know you mentioned that a lot of times you missed out on being able to travel for the holidays. I missed out on that multiple times as well.
Mm-hmm.
In 13 years, there were probably 2 Christmases I managed to spend with family members here in southern Missouri. And that was kind of a fluke.
It sounds about the same for me. I think I had 2 during my service, 2 years that I was home for Christmas.
So if everyone noticed, the title of tonight's stream isn't I will be home for the holidays, it's when I was able to be home or sometimes you can be home for the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because even if you weren't military, depending on the kind of job you had, whether you're an over-the-road trucker, police officer, firefighter, EMS, even a postal worker nowadays,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you probably missed out on more holidays than you actually got to participate in.
Mm-hmm.
If you went to a college that was away from your home city,
Yeah, out
you
of state or
probably missed
something.
out on most of the holidays that you really got to the point where you wanted to be part of.
Mm-hmm.
So tonight, we're taking a slightly different tack than normal for Veterans Day. We're talking about those times when you were able to be home or when you brought the holidays to where you were.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
A perfect example of this was for me in Germany. The first year I was there, I did not have enough leave accrued to be able to try to come home. So what I did was I planned out a trip to Berlin with a couple of my battle buddies, one of whom was a cute little blonde soldier that I was quasi dating. That trip ended up getting canceled. Anyone care to guess what she said that caused the date to get or the trip to get canceled on my end?
Hmm.
Nope.
This would be so much more fun if my husband were here.
Oh,
Oh.
you bitch.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Mm-mm-mm.
I ended up pulling my leave request and requesting CQ for the or alternating day on day off for the entire Christmas holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Which in Germany, that's at least at the time in it with the unit I was in, that was basically I was on during Christmas Eve, asleep during Christmas Day, on during the day after Christmas.
Right.
That's just a wow.
No, I requested that because I wanted to be so busy I couldn't think about anything else.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can definitely understand that.
Yeah.
Because if I allowed myself to go into my own head that weekend, ooh, I would have been PO'd.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But the buddies of mine who were in the barracks who found out what had happened decided to quasi bring a holiday thing to me. We used to meet up on Friday evenings into Saturday mornings doing LAN parties of Halo and Halo 2.
Okay.
So
Nice.
for almost 96 hours straight, it was a Halo-thon in the CQ/day room area of that barracks.
Right.
Yeah. Not really a traditional holiday story, but
No,
You
I
know,
can
it
remember
sounded like
the
it had
guys
a
doing.
good ending at the least.
oh
Mhm.
yeah. Well, you guys know as well as I do, when you're over in a situation like that, you gotta make it work somehow, or
Yep.
you're gonna go nuts.
Oh yes.
So,
Mhm.
Tommy, what did you guys in the Navy do to when you couldn't be home for the holidays to bring the holiday spirit at least to where you were?
Well, the one that came out of nowhere where I was actually able to be home was all right. I started boot. We had 9-week boots in the Navy when I started into September. Uh, about 4 weeks in, I ended up with stress fractures for a shitty gym floor that we had. And Great
Mm.
Lakes is cold and wintry and snowy in the wintertime and the fall. So, yeah, we had lots of snow. They ran us indoors. The gym floor was one of those rubberized surfaces, but they installed it wrong and it sprung back on you.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I had excessive stress fractures in my ankles, which put me on light duty, and I was able to finish up everything but battle stations. Battle stations is the last test before you graduate boot.
Mm.
So I had finished my class, but I was sitting in convalescence waiting for the go ahead and the okay to go back and shadow a regular company, as they called them, to finish my battle stations. But it was coming up on Christmas, and they actually gave us a week over Christmas if we were in convalescence and work to be released soon. To if you had accrued leave, you could go home.
Okay.
So that one was that was out of nowhere that I was actually able to do it. And the worst part is one of the guys that had been convalescing for quite a while, he was the barracks mafia guy.
Oh
He had all
no.
the contraband. He had a fucking cell phone that he wasn't supposed to have, and all this other bullshit. Ended up using his or he was able to get me a message from my mom because I gave him as a contact. She had called and left a message with him that say, "Hey, call us back because your ticket got canceled," and it had, because I had a limit on my
Oh,
card at the time.
shit.
So I needed to call I think it was Southwest I used at that point. I had to call them, and Mom had given me their credit card number to rebook the flight.
Oh man.
But I made it home. I was there for 4 days before I had to fly back, but that
Hey.
was one of those unexpecteds.
Hey, that would still have been a fun, happy surprise for your family and for yourself.
Well, and it was kind of nice too because there was a gal there that was also convalescing. She was crazy as fuck, but she lived in Boise and I lived in Caldwell. No, we didn't hook up. God, no. I'm glad I didn't hook up with that crank. Fuck. Holy shit. Anyway, we were able to travel together, so it was nice to have a battle buddy to travel with.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
In the Army, you have to have a battle buddy to. Heck, half the time you have to have a battle buddy just to go to the latrine. So
Yeah, depending on where you're at. Yeah, I think Pops alluded to that a couple of times on his shows when he was in Iraq.
Yeah.
To battle buddy to go to the shitter.
Oh yeah, especially
Oh,
when you're
man.
deployed or
well,
in the
I'm not even
field.
necessarily talking about during deployment.
Yeah.
I kid you not. In AIT, when I was going through OR Tech training, because part of our training took place on BAMC, on Fort Sam,
Hmm.
if we were leaving the classroom area for anything more than 2 minutes, we had to have a battle buddy with us. The nearest latrine from the classroom that we were
Oh,
using
shit.
was on the opposite side of the complex.
Hmm.
Mm.
So I had to, or this was after lunch. Lunch did not agree with me that day badly. It ended up doing that to a lot of soldiers that particular day. And I was like, instructor, request permission to leave facility, to utilize facilities.
Hmm.
And the instructor looks at me and goes, let me guess, you had, and I don't even remember what it was, but you had the questionable item for lunch. And I was like, Roger that. Looks at everyone. Who else had that? About a third of the class raised their hands.
Oh man.
And he goes,
Yep.
okay, you, and he just pointed at a random dude, and you, go do what you need to, get back here, and then I'll send 2 more of you when you 2 get back.
Hmm.
For the next 4 hours of the classroom period, those same battle buddy teams were just cycling in and out.
Oh.
Yeah, I
Fortunately, the guy
can
he
see
sent
that.
me with was cool. We were able to joke and jaw jack on the way back and forth, but that was a bad day.
Oh man.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
Sean,
at least
you
it
have a
wasn't
story
projectile vomit.
no, okay, that didn't happen to me. But you remember those seamen that I mentioned at the beginning?
The 2 girls, yeah.
Yeah.
They were buddied together, even though they technically weren't Army. They had to play the game.
Hmm.
Hmm.
One of them had exorcist level PV.
Oh god.
Oh goodness.
That poor thing.
She couldn't clear the instruction area before it went off, and she just shot right into the face of the other one.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh no.
It was
Dude.
terrible.
Oh, I can imagine.
Funny as hell, but terrible for the other person.
Oh, yeah. Well, both of them it was terrible for.
The
I didn't
rest of
realize
the
it got
class
dark
thought it
in
was
here.
absolutely hilarious, but the rest of the class was a bunch of randy male soldiers, with the exception of like 5 females.
Right.
Damn.
So, Sean, do you
Mhm.
have any stories of surprise you were able to take leave to get home that you weren't expecting?
Well, like we discussed earlier, did not get that kind of opportunity. Um, the closest time I think was when I got stationed 500 miles away from home.
Hey,
Alaska's pretty big, and our two biggest military sites are Rich and, well, Army sites are Rich and Wainwright, and I got stationed at Wainwright. So, Christmas Exodus period every year. Uh, for those that don't know, I'm pretty sure, Tommy, you guys had that in the Navy too, where it's kind of like a traditional block leave
Yeah.
around the end of December, beginning of
Yep.
January.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that the commanders set up to make sure that there's no training going on that week, so people
Mhm.
can take leave or they can just, I don't know. I was
recharge.
either in the field or deployed, so. But a good story, I guess you could say, is, or was it one that was unexpected? It was when we went out for a St. Patty's Day weekend to Savannah, Georgia. And if you don't know
That had to
Savannah,
have been fun.
Georgia, they they're usually about like couple 100,000, 300,000 people. During that weekend, it blows up to 1 million with the tourists.
My God.
Yeah, we ended up waiting like half an hour to get our beers, and we were just like, "Fuck this! We're gonna go drive an hour back to post and go party there." And it actually turned out to be, like I said, a really good decision that we left because everybody was packing the streets. Absolutely nobody was getting what they're trying to get.
Mhm.
And yeah, all of our boys who didn't go back home with us, they're like, yeah, it sucked. Like, well, we had a great time. Bonfires out in the barracks area because they actually had like a little pit area.
I was gonna
Oh
say, do they
yeah.
have a fire pit area?
Yep,
That's cool.
I
it's rare in the barracks.
Mhm.
well, Fort Hood, a couple of the newer barracks had something similar to that setup. At least when I was there, and same held true for Fort Campbell and Fort Riley.
Mm.
Hmm. Yeah, I've only been assigned to 2 posts. So Stewart, and well, once you're in Stewart, they don't let you leave. You have to either re-up your contract with PCS orders inside your contract, or you ETS. They don't let you go,
Yeah,
or at least not when I was there.
that was kind of the same thing with Fort Hood. That was one of those posts that had the reputation of you go there and you ETS out of there.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I managed to get out of there because I called branch management and was like, look, I don't care about deployment. I don't care about anything else of that nature. I need off this post. I need to do something where I can have a chance to grow my career.
Mhm.
And then I got sent to Fort Campbell to a unit that was supposed to deploy. The deployment got
Supposed to,
canceled.
but didn't.
The deployment got canceled about 2 days after I arrived.
Well, at least you got out of Hood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I got out of Hood right after a certain major decided to do an unauthorized firing range
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
using YouTube friendly euphemisms.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, that's not a bad idea at all.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. That.
Outlaw,
Yes.
I I know you don't have any military stories because you weren't military, but do you have any vacation stories that you did not expect to be able to take?
Um. Hmm. If I ever went on vacation, that was a miracle in and of itself. Um, very, very rarely have I ever been on vacation. But I can remember one time we had planned to go to, was it Dollywood?
In
I
Tennessee.
think it's Dolly, yeah, Dolly Parton's
Mhm.
deal.
Oh yeah, that I've heard good things about that, but I've never
So
been
have
there.
I. Yep.
and the family members that we were going to go with backed out at the last second, and it's like, oh well, shit, that was a bummer. I kind of wanted to check it out. Not really a fan of Dolly Parton, but
Oh, it's a Southern culture thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have always wanted to go to Gunnersville. Never got to go. Got to go to the beach for the first time about 10 or 11 years ago. See, I'm the
Which-
type of person that I very rarely get away from my hometown, my home state.
Right.
So
Which-
I had never seen the beach before.
And you're
And when
talking
I got,
Ocean Beach, right?
right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd never seen the ocean in person before. So, that was an experience. I got to watch my brothers slip and fall into the car on some wet pavement.
The car wasn't moving, right?
No, no, no.
Okay,
When we
so
got
that
into
was it.
town, go
So it was
ahead.
an embarrassing oopsie, not an oh my goodness, we're planning a funeral.
Right. Yeah, when we got down into Florida, where that long mile-long bridge is over the ocean.
Yeah.
Talking Pensacola?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
okay, yeah, I know that bridge well.
yeah. He stopped at the gas station right before you go across, and
Mm-hmm.
it had come down a really heavy thunderstorm that morning when we got into town.
Yep.
And so he was wearing flip-flops. Beach, go figure. Anyway, he hit one of those paint lines that the cars, you go by when you park a car. Anyway, he hit that and slipped. And next thing you know, whatever was in his hand was flying up in the air, and we didn't see him. And I'm like, where'd he go? And I got out, and we started laughing. But yeah, that was quite an experience, man.
He had slid under the car, huh?
Yeah, he got in, and everybody's just sitting there trying not to laugh. And he's like, "Shut up, just shut up."
Poor bastard.
Okay. For me, I don't have many stories of unexpected leaves because I actually had to fight for pretty much every leave I got to take, and they still kept calling me during leave.
Oh, don't you love that? They call you up. It's like, hey, why aren't you here? Why aren't you at the arms room to go pull out your weapon?
I
cleaning.
actually had one of my relatives when we were having a family dinner, I think it was, who picked up the phone from my hand when I was talking to the first sergeant,
Oh shit.
who literally goes, "Is my son on leave?" Well, yes. Is this a life and death World War III emergency? No.
No.
Do not call him again until he looks at my family member looks at me and goes, "What's the day your leave's over with?" I tell him because I don't remember. This was so bloody long ago.
Mm.
And he goes, "Do not call him again until the day right before my leave ends." And that call had only better be to remind him that he's expected back on post 24 hours after that call.
Wow.
Now, my mom and dad were both active duty Army.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that makes
My-
sense.
My grandfather retired from the Air Force and was a Korean conflict veteran.
Right.
So I'm the third generation of my family to directly serve in some branch of the military. And somehow it seems like I managed to get all the nasty luck that all the previous generations ducked out on. But not here to reminisce about the garbage times unless it's to make other people laugh.
No, I love that they took the phone and said, "Don't call him again."
Well, exactly.
That is a bitch move. I don't think I ever got called. Well, I did. No, it was after I was out. I got called for a trick that I was using to fix equipment, but that was about the only one I ever remember getting called by a former service member. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna love this then, Tommy. My last active duty assignment was Fort Irwin, California.
Mm-hmm.
I was the
Oh,
training room and CO for the company that I was attached to at that time.
Okay.
Well, the person I trained to take over my position ended up getting replaced and didn't properly train his replacement.
Of course.
I get a call from the first sergeant at that unit demanding to know what I did with certain records 6 months after I had left. And I'm thinking, why are
lovely.
you calling me? I trained up the guy you chose to take the position from me.
Mm-hmm.
I legitimately said that to him. He goes, "Oh, we replaced him." I'm like, why didn't you train up his replacement properly? He goes, are you back talking to me? I'm like, technically right now, I'm a civvy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm a reservist, but I'm not on TPU status at the moment.
You're
Oh,
not
yeah.
in his chain of command anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
You could tell him to fuck off and die in a fire.
Well, no, what I told him instead was, you go get the guy that I trained, tell him what you're looking for, get his lazy butt into that training room to give you the document.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something that was generated after I left and you foobarred it, I will be more than happy to personally call the IG for Fort Irwin and
Mm-hmm.
have you thrown under the bus.
Ooh.
Do you really want to push your luck?
Uh-huh.
This is the first and only time I ever heard this guy, and bear in mind, he was probably about a 300-pound Samoan,
Oh,
basically go, I'm sorry. Can you please help us this once?
What the fuck?
My
I'm
literal response
sorry.
was, no. I helped you, I set you up for success, and you threw it in the garbage.
Mm-hmm.
You have a nice day. If you need to make contact with me again, do it through my current chain of command.
Right.
You can find that.
Oh.
You can find that on AKO. You know how to do it. Your number is being blocked.
Oh,
Oh.
damn.
What a dick.
Now, I was on good terms with the company commander. So after I got done talking to the first sergeant, I called the company commander. I'm like, here's what just happened. He's been blocked. He calls me again. I call the IG for Fort Irwin. I file a complaint. You might want to make sure that he doesn't do it because you know as well as I do, it'll blow back onto you.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
exact response, and even 5 years later, I cannot forget this. He goes, okay, cool. Did you at least use lube?
Oh, God. Whoa.
That's a good CO.
Oh, that particular CO, he hated that first sergeant as much as I did.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Tommy, I don't know what the Navy equivalent to a first sergeant is.
It's a chief. First
Yeah, chief
sergeant's
petty
an
officer.
yeah, that's an E7, right?
Yeah, E7,
Yeah,
there's
it's-
occasionally there might be an E8.
Well,
I'm talking about
E8,
position, not necessarily the rank.
yeah, E8
okay.
for us was a senior chief, but chief and senior chief they did the same thing, and then you had your master chiefs who were just fucking douchebags. But anyway,
Well, in the case of this particular command team, they got along about as well as oil and water. Which, as
you
Sean
could
can
make an
tell you in the
emulsion,
Army,
but they would separate.
Shock.
well, as Sean can tell you in the Army, if your command team isn't gelling, the rest of the unit is going to fail.
It suffers badly. Yeah, it
Oh,
happens in the
turns
Navy.
into
Yep.
it turns into fucking back and forth bickering left and right and
Mhm.
self-sabotage, not self-sabotage, but sabotaging other people.
Yep.
Mhm. You have cliques form
Yeah.
within the unit that are pro one person or the other.
Yep.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
it happens in the Navy too. Any organization like that, you'll get that if the command
Actually,
can't
I
work
saw my
together.
commander get punched in the face during deployment. We're all in our makeshift gym, and this guy was running the company hard, and particularly one platoon. I was in his headquarters company. We were going out 5 times a day
Ooh.
on patrol.
For a
It took my
headquarters
old
unit,
platoon
that's not good.
sergeant. No, well, we were responsible for. We were at a JSS, so it's a site offside of the FOBs or the rest of the military installation. So we had to go do meal packs every day for hot chow,
Yeah.
and then he would want to do patrols as well. He ran this other platoon a little harder than that, and the officer of the platoon just decked him when he said, "Hey, I need you to go on patrol again." Thankfully, that officer, when most people get into trouble, really bad trouble in the military, they just transfer them out to a unit. He ended
Yeah.
up getting transferred up
Mm-hmm.
to brigade.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
he
But
left the company line and skipped battalion and was now an officer of brigade, not to be babysat, but had the balls to stand up to a toxic commander.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I've heard a few stories like that where somebody has to stand up to an incompetent or just absolutely horrid CO or first sergeant, and they, instead of getting beat down, they get moved above where they normally would be.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's not common, but it's always so gratifying to hear about when it does happen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
But kind of a similar thing on my end. Had a situation once during my deployment where the first sergeant wanted the arms room to move from the chew that it was in to another one again. This is like the third or fourth time. And the unit armorer pulled, or actually drew on the first sergeant.
Drew his service revolver, or not revolver? It was probably a 9mm.
It was his rifle.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
It
his rifle. Oh, damn.
Yeah, he
Oh,
had just
shit.
come back from a convoy. He
No
was getting
fucking
ready to
around.
open the arms room to let people start turning in the heavy gear that they weren't required to keep with them all the time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He still had a magazine in the weapon. The first sergeant comes up to him and says something. I'm pretty sure it was akin to the AC in the chew that is my office went out again. And I need you to move the arms room. This was like the fourth or fifth time this had happened. And the unit armorer was like, no, we're not doing that. First sergeant was like, yeah, you are. Next thing I hear, click, click.
Oh, shit.
When you hear a gun.
Yeah,
crack.
you don't see that happen very often.
Ooh.
Yeah. Everyone within 100 meters just stopped what they were doing and turned to watch.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and look to see if they needed to find cover.
Exactly. There
Mhm.
were about 3 people that were close enough to actually intervene, and they were all like, okay, First Sergeant, you come over here.
Mm-hmm.
Specialist so-and-so, you come over here. Specialist so-and-so, can we have your rifle, please?
Mm-hmm.
The specialist was about 6 foot tall and so muscled that his rifle looked like a toy.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So he was one of those guys that you didn't tell him to do something when he was mad. You asked him to do something
Mm-hmm.
because he would
Especially,
break you.
please? Or would you kindly?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm gonna redirect you here. Do you think we could go over here?
But pretty
Oh,
much.
God.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, with him, it was one of these things that when he got mad enough, you were like, "Hey, come here, come here. You see these big sticks here? Start punching them until they're small sticks."
Oh god.
No, he would do it.
Yeah,
He
he
would
needed
do
the
it.
distraction.
And the thing is, with that particular incident, yeah, he did get removed from the unit, but when he got sent back to the States, he didn't get removed from the company rear D. He apparently told someone higher up in the chain of command what had happened.
Hmm.
Because when we get back to Fort Hood after deployment, we see him, an unknown commander or company level captain and first sergeant that we had not seen before, waiting for us. That new captain comes up to First Sergeant McLean when he's bloviating at the soldiers. He goes, "Are you First Sergeant McLean?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm information." He goes, "Not anymore." Rips off the first sergeant rank, throws it into the crowd, says, "Fall in," turns to look at the soldiers, waves up the new guy and goes, "This is First Sergeant so-and-so. He is going to be taking over as First Sergeant for your company starting tomorrow.
Wow.
I am Captain so-and-so. I will be taking over as the company commander starting tomorrow.
God
Get out of my
damn.
line of sight. Be present at the company area 0800 tomorrow morning to start your post-deployment reprocessing. You will be out of here tomorrow no later than noon if you get everything taken care of that needs to be taken care of. Dismissed." That was the post-deployment change of command ceremony.
Nice.
Shit.
Something
That's
tells
actually
me
cool.
he was under scrutiny already.
Oh, he had at least 5 different IG investigations going
Yeah.
concurrent to the
And
deployment.
they were just tired of his shit and they wanted rid of him.
Well, he had the nickname King McLean
Mm.
because the guy ran the unit like his own personal fiefdom.
Hmm.
All right, Sean, did you ever
Oh,
deploy
yeah,
to
I
Iraq?
know officers like that.
This was an NCO. This wasn't an officer.
Oh, yeah, because that's right. It was the first sergeant who, did that. Most of the
And
NCOs that I had were pretty good.
now
Um,
you'll really laugh at this, Sean.
mhm.
And Tommy, you'll probably find it amusing. Outlaw, you'll probably find it disgusting. The company commander that I had,
Mhm.
I found her on a dating app using her maiden name.
Oh,
Because during deployment, I got the bright idea. Well, since I'm finally doing something worthwhile, I'll try online dating, get a pen pal going, maybe be able to get or meet someone in person when I get home.
Sure.
mhm.
Well, what do I find? But on I don't even remember which app this was. I find the commander or someone that looks a lot like the commander with her old name.
Hmm.
Like, she doesn't have any sisters. Because those of you who've been in the military, you know they put out the bios of the command
Usually.
team.
Yeah, they want to make themselves human to the rest of the command. Sure. So they
Mhm.
tell their story. Mhm.
Which
Mhm.
pretty much always includes husband, wife, whichever the case may be,
Siblings.
siblings, and surviving parents.
Hmm.
She had no siblings listed.
Wow.
Not good.
No.
Uh, I I do the good soldier thing, and I inform the commander that, hey, I found someone that looks a lot like you using your old name on this dating site. And you might want to, if it's not you, you might want to reach out and let them know that, hey, this ain't kosher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know having an affair while in the uniform is a criminal
crime.
offense.
That's in Article 15, and you will be
Wow.
taken out.
Yep.
Well, and what made
One of the very
matters
few
even
places
more
that.
what made
Sorry, I
matters even
stepped on
more
you.
what made matters even more foobar with that, she denied it was her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I'm not saying anything more than that. I've done my part. I told her. It's up to her what she wants to do with that information.
Mm-hmm. In
Exactly.
fact, I'm going to look it up here, guys, and I'll tell you which article it is that'll get you kicked the fuck out. See if I can find it.
Yeah, I know I know there's something about infidelity. I just don't remember exactly what the regulation is on it.
It literally is adultery.
Yep.
Adultery and sodomy and all kinds of fun stuff.
Oh yeah, well, we can't go into huge detail because of YouTube.
No,
But
no,
the
no, no.
military has in field manual that there's literally only one authorized position to
Mm-hmm.
Oh
engage
yeah,
in
for adult
reproductive actions
activities.
with.
Yep, yep.
I think that's a little excessive.
It's pretty boring.
Well, and
Well,
it's
no,
an
what I mean is
old.
I think it's a little excessive to try to control people's personal lives to that level.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, you got to control people's personal lives when they're in the uniform, but you go too far and you're not really controlling them. You're just being, well, jerks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're adults,
At least in
but
theory.
they're treated, or lower enlisted soldiers are treated like children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, for the first couple years, yeah, you need to treat them that way so that they can
Well,
come up in military life and adapt,
I
because
would
it's
say
not
by
going to
the time
be overnight.
they reach specialist, you can kind of take the
Hmm.
training wheels off, the gloves off, and be like, okay, look, you've been in for long enough to know not to do certain things. Go forth, be an adult, be ready to take the consequences if you do something too stupid.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who are not familiar, a specialist in the Army is an E4. It's
Yeah.
basically a baby NCO unless they get promoted to corporal, in which case you're a sergeant without the pay.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. E4s. It's kind of a gray area in the Navy. Also, I was pretty much treated like an E2, or I mean a petty officer second class, which is an E5
Yeah, given the responsibilities but not the
without the
pay.
pay. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And for people like me who get stuck in that kind of position for many years, you generate a very disgruntled individual.
Mm-hmm. You can.
Hmm.
And then they wonder why certain people start asking questions and expect answers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or why retention gets so drastically low they had to pull what they recently did.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Anyways,
we've
I
been
think we're
going for
waffling,
about
aren't we?
48 minutes. I was trying to put together a mid-roll break, but it kept interfering with everything else, so that's not on the cards. We can either go ahead and take a quick break so everyone can go refill drinks, use the restroom,
Yeah. I could use
and
both.
do what they need to, or we can go ahead and push on through and end here in about an hour.
Well, let's do breaks so that we can take our little break and then viewers can go and uh, do the same.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, that'll
Well,
work.
chat, we're going to be gone for right around 5 minutes.
Yep.
Let everyone do what you need to do. I'm going to go ahead and drop everybody off stage for a couple minutes, and we will be back shortly.
All right.
So everyone have a good one. Okay, guys, I know we're back a little early, but we have the fifth member of our panel that I was hoping would be here tonight. So I figured,
Sorry, I'm a little late.
That's all good, man. Welcome aboard, sir.
Yeah,
Sir.
Yep.
The hell?
Yeah, you know,
You think I'm smart?
I'm a civilian now, so I use good, proper manners.
well,
Eh,
Crusader,
since when?
Well, Billy's not
Crusader, you
involved,
know
but,
I'm not worried about if you're on time or not. I'm just happy that you decided to show up.
Yeah, I just got home maybe 15 minutes ago, so
Hey,
been one of those
sounds like-
days.
so what was that, Sean?
I said, "Oh, lovely," when he said it's been one of those days.
Yeah. I was listening to you guys for a little bit while I was on my way home, so.
Okay, so since you already kind of know the topic, do you have any holiday stories that fit the bill for unexpected trips that you were able to take?
Kind of, yeah. This one's gonna be a little on the crazy side.
Crusader, it's
I-
you. We expect that.
Well, yeah. I mean, if there's rules that were made to be broken, I was the one that was made to break the rules.
True.
I was in my early 20s, just before September 11th happened. I was dating a girl at the time who was a few years older than me, and she was a private charter pilot. She was a private jet pilot, and I was a contractor and working as a medic, and I was on call. Well, I was sitting, talking to my girlfriend. She was hanging out, getting a plane ready because she was supposed to fly out a couple of days early because of supposed bad weather, that she was supposed to kind of be in the area to pick up somebody and fly them across country. And I was hanging out with her because our office wasn't too far away from the airport. Maybe, 1 to 2 miles. I was on call, so I was close by. So nobody knew anything. And one of our dispatchers, I was talking to them. I'm like, hey, what's the plan? What's going on? They're like, there's really nothing going on the next 24 hours. I'm like, well, I'm kind of on call. And she's like, and the dispatcher's like, there's really not much we really need for you to do. And I'm like, so can I have the night off? She's like, yeah, go ahead, take the night off. And then I was talking to my girlfriend, and she was supposed to fly.
Nice.
She was supposed to fly from where we were in Salt Lake. She was supposed to fly to Chicago O'Hare and wait to go somewhere on the East Coast to pick somebody up to fly him to a private strip in Wyoming. And I was talking to my girlfriend, and the dispatcher's like, go ahead, take the night off. We'll cover for you if we need to. Just be able to make it back here within an hour if we call you. Within 1 to 2 hours. I'm like, how about within 4? And they're like, you know what? It's the holidays. Yeah, if you're back within 4 hours, go have fun, go do what you want. So I talked to Allie, and I'm like, yeah, I'm off pretty much. And she's like, wanna come with me to Chicago? And I'm like, well, I kind of have to be back, and she's like, we can always fly back if we need to. She's like, Salt Lake to O'Hare is a little under 2 hours. And I'm like, are you gonna get in trouble for this? And she's like, that's flight hours. They really don't care. And so I'm like, you know what? What the hell? Why not? So I'm already in the private hangar area. I've already been through security, and she's like, all right. She's like, well, fuel's, everything's ready to go. She's like, I can, call her ATC, and I can get, clearance for takeoff.
So it's just she was a pilot.
Mhm.
So I just hopped in a little like G4 that she was flying, and we flew from Salt Lake to O'Hare. For her to be there on standby to pick up this VIP she was supposed to fly, and it's like an hour. O'Hare's within 2 hours of my family, and just as soon as we get to Chicago, get a rental car. It was just going to be kind of a surprise to go up and visit my family. She got called back to Salt Lake.
Oh no.
So we literally flew from Salt Lake to O'Hare, and then within an hour of landing in O'Hare, we turned around and go back to Salt Lake because she got waved off that she didn't have to fly this VIP.
And had
So
to return the plane.
Right. Exactly. So, I was technically, and just as soon as we got back into Salt Lake, like we were literally just barely leaving the secured hangar area, the parking space by the hangars, and I get a phone call from work saying, hey, we need you in the office. How fast can you get here? I'm like, I can be there in 10 minutes. Why? What's up? So nobody knew what was nobody had a clue that I went from Salt Lake to O'Hare back to Salt Lake, in like a 4-hour period, or maybe 5 hours. And just as soon as I got called back in, my shift supervisor was there to tell me that I could actually take the rest of my shift off.
Oh my God.
But wanted to tell me in person.
Mm-hmm. Because it was a surprise.
Oh God.
See, that is one of those where the stars aligned, just not in the way they should have aligned.
Yeah. And well, it gets better because just as soon as I found that off, I'm like, hey, Allie, I'm off. I don't have to work. I'm not on call all weekend. And she's maybe half hour after I talked to her, we were making plans to do something for the weekend. Well, she got a call and she was put back on flight status.
Oh no.
So she had to turn around, grab a jet, have it refueled, and fly. Instead of going to Chicago O'Hare, she had to fly to Miami. So I'm like, she's like, I gotta go down to Miami and I gotta wait for, someone to come in. I'm like, oh, okay. So, what's the plan? And she's like, well, so I'm supposed to fly him from Atlanta. I think it was to like Dallas, Fort Worth, and then back up to Salt Lake.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, then you got to, return the jet. I'm like, oh, okay. And she's like, you want to fly along? Like, aren't you going to get in trouble for that? And she's like, I'll call my boss and see if that's okay. And turns out that she wasn't able to do that. So I wound up, it's like, it was literally like one of those things, like we could have had a perfect freaking weekend together, but my schedule, hers, like everything just changed at the last minute. But I wound up being home because she was gone, and I picked up an overtime shift through the holiday weekend that I wound up getting paid triple time to do that. And then my boss felt bad because I picked up an emergency shift. So catered dinner into the office. So it's like, wait a minute, like I'm bouncing around like a pinball in a pinball machine here, but how did I come out smelling like a rose on this one?
Yeah. I'm getting paid. I'm getting fed.
Right. Yeah. So that was one that didn't work out. It worked out pretty good, but not exactly how I was expecting. And it was always a surprise every last second.
Mm-hmm.
That turned out good, but if I was in those shoes, I'd be like looking up heavenward and going, "Can you please make up your mind?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you fucking with me?
I know you're enjoying the show, but knock it off.
Yeah.
trying to see if you can make me break, but it's not going to work. Then there was another time. It was December of 01. I was a contractor at the time, and they've had us on 12-hour shifts, 12 on, 12 off, because we were supposed to be there to assist with the National Guard if anything was kind of found out of the ordinary. So we're sitting over at the airport, and we're sitting there, and there's a guy, first sergeant, National Guard first sergeant, and I don't know what put what up what orifice, but dude was hardcore trying to make a name for himself, and the easiest way I can describe him is, you guys remember that really uptight guy from Police Academy that was always trying to make a name for himself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what this dude was like. So we're sitting at the airport, and he got mad at us because we're sitting in a lounge. We got our A bags on the floor, got our boots on our bags. We're just lounging, BSing in the chairs, just not doing anything. And he comes in and starts screaming at us that we need to salute him. We're like, dude, we're contractors. we're civilians, man. We don't do that.
We don't do that shit.
You know,
So
and don't ask me again.
yeah. So, we wound up working with this guy for probably 2 weeks straight. And he was just one of those guys that was just kind of a jerk to be around. Then he got retasked somewhere else. Then one of my buddies that I worked with came from another team to be on my team. Well, maybe a week or so after, because we were on the 24-hour rotation shift. I think we were on it like 6 months, 12 on, 12 off, waiting, because they're doing all this stuff, prior to the O2 games. And this first sergeant kept coming in. He kept being kind of a jerk, being kind of a jerk. And like all the airport ground crews, like the guys knew who we were at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And they would just like come by, like they would have charter flights that would have a ton of food, like catered food on the aircraft that was never touched.
Yep.
And they're like, hey guys, here, eat up, have fun, enjoy it.
I have no idea what to tell you on that one.
So they pull all this food that was never even opened from a chartered flight that they just have to get rid of. And we're just sitting there, and the grounds crew pull everything off, and they come in by us. This first sergeant comes in, just as mean as a junkyard dog, just kind of a growling, evil dude. He comes in, knocks over one of the trays, like the little tray table that we had, this like a little banquet table full. He comes in and just flips it over and just starts getting mouthy. He's like, "What are you gonna do?" He goes, "You're just civilians." Blah 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 blah. And he was getting kind of nasty. I'm like, hey, you know what? We're having a great thing. We're doing. And so he was being kind of a prick about it. And I looked at my buddy JR I was working with, and I looked at JR, and JR just kind of gives me a smirk and a nod. And this first sergeant walks off. Well, unbeknownst to me, my buddy JR, his girlfriend was the daughter of the state IG.
Oh shit.
So you have a National Guard E8 trying to make a name for himself. Somebody pissed in his bowl of Cheerios or whatever it was.
He made a name for himself.
Oh yeah, he did. He definitely did make a name for himself. And JR kind of smirked.
Not what he wanted.
No. So JR walks off, and I kind of clean everything up and apologize to the grounds guys and bring everything up. And so the grounds guys bring more food. Because they had a ton of, I don't know where they were finding this stuff. I mean, there was we had 15 guys, 12 or 15 guys in this back room. And this next batch of food they brought was ribs, brisket, pork shoulder, cornbread. So they start bringing all this stuff out, and the grounds guys sit down because they're done with what they had to do. It's like 2:00 in the morning. And we're all just sitting around, grounds crews, contractors. We're having a blast.
Mhm.
And this first sergeant comes in again, flips the table for a second time. So the grounds guys get pissed. Call up to the tower. They sent the tower chief down, who then called the airport superintendent over.
Mhm.
And then the superintendent came in because it was about to start his shift. It was probably like 4 or 5 in the morning or so when he came in and he showed up. We explained to him what happened, and we looked at someone pissing the dude's Cheerios.
Mhm.
So we didn't really we were having fun. It was just kind of one of those fun moments. And probably maybe a week later, we were back on another third shift rotation at the airport, and the grounds guys were cool with us. We were cool with them. We had unlimited supply for things.
Jesus, outlaw.
Yeah, what's going on, outlaw? But we had unlimited when it came to like beverages, and this is around the time when like Red Bull was just getting popular, and they had the
Right.
Red Bull girls on the longboards like handing out cans of Red Bull. One of my buddies was on his way in and got 4 cases of Red Bull
Oh wow.
from one of the Red Bull girls. So he brings this in, he brings that in. We're hanging out with the grounds crew. This first sergeant rolls in again, flips the table, just being a douche, being a bully. And then all of a sudden, I think it was the colonel from the National Guard comes walking in looking for this first sergeant.
Reads him the riot act, doesn't he?
Rips his stripes off his shirt,
Oh, that's not a riot act.
Nope.
puts his arm around his neck and said, "Son, you're coming with me. The state inspector general would like to speak with you personally." And she's out in the parking lot.
Uh-oh.
So he got McLeaned.
So we had great food. We had a great time. Dude wound up, ruining his own career.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what would have been done. We never saw him again.
No, you wouldn't.
So I mean, what would the state? And that's kind of one of the questions. Like a lot of us, like we never heard his name before, or never heard his name since. We never heard like
Oh, he just
a couple
disappeared.
of guys asked about him, but we just kind of got that look of don't ever mention that man's name again.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to go out on a limb and say that he got reduced in rank by probably 2 pay grades.
At least.
He probably got a bar for reenlistment.
If they kept him.
And was asked politely to turn in a resignation paper.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Or
to have
retirement
one on
papers.
file if anyone filed a complaint against him ever again.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me
So
taking a wild shot in the dark, though.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, we had some great catered food. I mean, one of the places, I think the barbecue came from a place in Kansas City. It was like
Ooh.
catered onto a private jet.
That's
Oh,
good
and
barbecue
Chase,
there in Kansas.
I don't have a lot nice to say about Kansas City, but they know how to do good barbecue.
Oh, their barbecue's real good.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of the stuff that we had that was coming in off of flights,
Mhm.
like all these private charter, like we took care of the ground crews. Like these guys, whatever we had available to us was available to them.
Sure.
But this guy he thought that he was going to be Billy Badass and just mess with people. So then, like, because we were there from, I think, end of September until March. We would pull 12-hour, either day or night shifts. They'd rotate us. But we kept taking care of that ground crew that we were working with. And that dude just disappeared. Nobody ever, some of us would ask, but, everyone's like, just shake their head and just like, don't even. And I
Who
asked my
now?
buddy Jay. Yeah. So I asked my buddy JR, who was dating the IG's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
JR told me that he called the state IG and informed the state IG, and she told my buddy she was going to handle it personally. Don't ask any more questions.
Wow.
Yeah, that tells me that guy, because for regular Army and Reserve, to have a senior NCO reduced in rank takes an act of Congress.
Mhm.
For
Pretty
National
much.
Guard, they're dealt with at the state level.
Yep.
I'm going to take a wild shot in the dark and say that IG pushed or had them do hard legislation on the guy.
Oh, maybe the governor can do a reduction in rank on spot, since
Yeah.
it's
Well,
kind of his unit, or
if
it's
you're
the
enlisted,
governor's unit.
if you're enlisted, you can be reduced to E1 from any rank, depending on the
Yeah,
infraction.
you can, but
Mhm.
like I said, for federal, it's one way of doing it.
Right.
For National Guard, it's a slightly different mechanism that they have to use.
Mhm. Yep. It's under different rules.
So
But
that-
they do have some carryover, but it's kind of hard to tell exactly how it would have been done. Mainly, and I say that mainly because I've never been National Guard. I've always been under federal, so
Mhm.
I just don't know, and it's
Yeah.
not something I'm ever likely to dig into because
yeah,
You're already done.
Come
I
March.
like
yeah,
I like the I will personally handle this.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a sign that person has achieved a form of notoriety that no one ever wants.
Yeah, they already had a name for themselves.
No, I'm probably sure that dude probably pissed in somebody else's cereal and
Mhm.
had a problem. But
Okay.
on another great holiday note,
Yeah.
I was traveling for work, and I knew a couple of buddies of mine were federal air marshals. A couple were international, and some were domestic. So it was Christmas Eve. We wound up leaving Salt Lake, and wound up getting stuck in Minneapolis. Late at night, we got into town late, so we got delayed. So I wound up hanging out in the Minneapolis airport with 3 different federal air marshals that I knew, who then got us connected with somebody from the Minnesota National Guard that one of them knew. So we wound up going around Minneapolis having a wonderful Christmas Eve dinner and doing whatever the hell we did while in Minneapolis, and barely making it back in time to get on our flight to make it out the next morning without even actually visiting a hotel.
Right.
But it was kind of like one of those impromptu, like, buddies hanging out and just you're in a town for a night and just having a blast.
Yeah.
But that was a Christmas Eve for me one time while I was away from home.
I would remember that
well-
as one of the better Christmas Eves.
It was.
Okay, well, gentlemen, what do you say we go ahead and talk about one of the things that I wanted to have as a key part of this evening's festivities? Crusader,
Yes.
well, me and Outlaw have a few recipes that we're more than happy to share with the group. Do you
Okay.
have any recipes, holiday, drink, whatever, that you're willing or interested in sharing? If you do, go ahead and you have them on digits, go ahead and throw it up. I will share your screen and you can talk it through here a
I
little
don't
bit.
have anything like that. All of my recipes, all my stuff is all in my head, which is a disturbing place for most things.
Okay, well,
That's where I'm at.
if you'd like to share it here in a little bit, you're welcome to do so. I'm going to go ahead and throw up, and I know you guys are going to make jokes about being a PowerPoint Ranger. Yes, I get it. I accept it. I'm going to put up with it. But it's the easiest way I could find to share these with ease. I've got 3 recipes that I've split up into main course or snack / main course. or God damn it, snacks slash appetizers, main course, and a side dish.
Mm.
And the two of these recipes come from an old German cookbook that I got from my mom a couple of years ago that she's had since her and my father were in Germany when he was still active duty and stationed there.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is a recipe I picked up while I was in high school. I make either all three of these or variations of them during the holiday season. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. Okay, it's not showing. What on earth? Hang on a second. Let me try this again.
I was going to say,
Murphy, get out of here.
Let me try this again because I don't know what's going on.
And what are you talking about, Outlaw? You talking about your thumbnail there, buddy?
That's good stuff, ain't it?
That ain't bad at all.
Told you I had a few of them in the works.
Okay. Can you guys see it now?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Hmm.
Okay. I have shown photos of this on the Gilded. The name is right there on screen. Hidden
Mhm.
Valley Ranch sausage bars slash wraps. This is a recipe I picked up in high school. It's so easy. Anyone with half a brain can make it.
That sounds
And-
really good.
And
Mhm.
honestly, half a brain is probably still overqualified to make it. You take a pound of sausage, brown it up, mix that with a cup and a half of shredded cheese or Monterey
Mhm.
Jack cheese, a cup and a half of shredded cheddar. I frequently cheat and just pick up a 2-pound thing of cheddar jack.
Yep. Pre-shredded.
Mm-hmm. A cup of Hidden Valley Ranch salad dressing. One of the small bottles is perfectly sized for this.
Mm-hmm.
A small can or 1 cup of sliced or minced black or ripe black olives that have been drained.
Mm-hmm.
Mix all of that together, and you load these into muffin or, I admit it, I cheat and use cupcake to give a little bit bigger serving sizes. At least appears to be bigger. You put the wonton wrappers into the cups, put the sausage mixture into that,
Mm-hmm.
stick it in the oven for about 5 minutes at 350 degrees. Makes for a really good snack. It can be a reasonably good side dish to take with you in a box lunch.
Right.
And it's also a really good appetizer type food.
But that'd
if
be
you have
something
a
nice to
football-
take to a. That'd be something nice for a potluck.
Yeah, or a football party.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Now, I have
actually
played around
good.
with it a bit. There are different sausages that you can use instead of just the regular Jimmy Dean type sausage.
Mm-hmm.
That the taste changes ever so slightly, but not in a way that really detracts. I found that switching out regular for hickory sausage is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Well, I could see using Italian dressing and a different dressing other than ranch too.
Hey, if you come up with something that's as good, share it. I am more than happy to try it. This
Call
is
me
a
crazy.
recipe I've made for years, but I'm not going to say that I'm emotionally attached to it
Mm.
as it currently is, because I will play around with it.
No, this one's definitely open for interpretation and experimentation.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
I found relatively recently that if you stick it in the microwave for about 2 minutes, about 2 to 4 of the cups, that it can reheat relatively nicely.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the only consistency I've found when it comes to reheating these is it's really inconsistent.
Yeah. Well, it's like pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you reheat them, have you tried putting like a glass of water inside the microwave?
Yeah, what I've actually done when I've reheated them is I've put like a burrito in there with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that way the microwave's actually doing work and not just doing one little bitty thing.
Well, and the burrito and also the cup of water trick that actually helps to reheat and steam them and rehydrate them at the same time. They don't dry out as bad.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you want to invigorate bread that's gotten
Well-
stale, but it's not bad, put a little bit of water and wrap the bread in a towel and then throw that
Well,
in the microwave.
The thing is, the theory with the wraps themselves is they're supposed to be crispy,
Mm-hmm.
but not necessarily break your teeth crispy.
Right.
If that
And
makes
that's where you
sense.
want that little bit of steam.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the whole trick is
Okay.
steam.
This is a main course dish that comes from the book German Traditional Cooking. It is called Brockenacken nach Süddeutscher Art, also known as ginger crumbled fried chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've made a few slight modifications to the recipe, but the spirit is still there. And this can be used to make a fairly decent chicken schnitzel.
I would think this would be good for pork chops also.
Oh, it probably
Mhm.
is. But what it
Oh,
is, 3 pounds boneless chicken. Now, the book just says chicken. I'm specifying boneless, and
Mhm.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say stick with breast meat chicken.
Mm. See, and I'd go for thigh off right off the bat for more flavor, but that's me.
You're gonna need salt, 2 eggs whipped, 1 cup dry breadcrumbs, 1/2 cup grated Parmesan, 1/4 teaspoon, 1/4 tea. Hang on, I'm misreading that. I think. Nope, 1/4 teaspoon powdered ginger,
Mm-hmm.
3 ounces of butter, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and lemon wedges for garnish.
Mm-hmm.
Cut the chicken into serving size pieces, rub them with salt, dip in the egg, roll in the mixture of breadcrumbs, cheese, and ginger.
Mm-hmm.
Heat oil and butter in a frying pan and brown chicken on all sides. Transfer to a roasting tray for 20 to 30 minutes in the oven. And serve the chicken with lemon wedges for garlic or garnish, like I already mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to make this into a schnitzel, you add in about 1/2 cup of flour to either the breadcrumb mixture or applied directly after dipping in egg, depending on how crunchy and crispy you want the chicken to be.
Mm-hmm.
And when you prepare the chicken to be dipped, first you want to pound it to roughly 1/4 of an inch in thickness.
Yep.
When you do this, you can also use the same technique to make a reasonably good chicken cordon bleu.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And for the schnitzel, you don't need to throw it in the oven. You can just fry it until it's a nice golden brown on all sides. What I found I like to do, because it keeps it reasonably juicy, is I pan fry it and then I toss it into the oven for about 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Let it finish off in the oven.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I could see you doing that with a pork chop or
Spitzel.
some
Mhm.
pork shoulder that you skimmed off the top of a big pork shoulder before you cooked it. Oh yeah, that'd work. That'd work quite well.
Spitzel.
And you could beat it thin or not, either way. And yeah, chicken breast or thigh would work very well for that.
Mhm.
Now, for the side dish that I'm throwing up on the offering today, we have got Spätzle. This is a traditional German egg noodle, very similar to a lot of the pastas that you can get from Italian cookbooks. It's really simple to make.
Mm-hmm.
You've
Yeah, I
got
know this one.
2.5 cups of flour, a half teaspoon of salt, 2 eggs thoroughly beaten,
Mhm.
1/2 cup of water. In a bowl, you combine the flour and the salt, add eggs in about a quarter cup of water, mix until the dough is nice and stiff, adding the water until it has the right consistency. You know it has the right consistency when it peels away from the edge of the bowl nicely and doesn't want to
Mhm.
stick to the bowl.
Yep, doesn't stick anymore. Right.
You knead the dough for several minutes until it is smooth, and you let it stand for about 30 minutes.
Hmm.
You flour a pastry board and roll out the dough to the desired thickness. The book recommends about 1/8 of an inch. I've made it at about 1/4 of an inch, and it's fine.
Hmm.
I've made it at about 1/2 of an inch, and it's okay, but it could be thinner at that size. With a sharp knife, you cut the dough into thin slivers and place them into a saucepan of boiling salted water.
Hmm.
You cook for about 5 minutes or until they rise to the surface. Remove and drain in the colander.
Yep.
Now, I did not note this down on the PowerPoint, but this particular the Spätzle recipe is also incredibly good if you pan fry it after boiling it in the same pan that you made your chicken, your pork, or your beef in.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, because they'll absorb all the fond from it and the
Yep.
flavors and the
Uh-huh.
oils.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
the Spätzle itself keeps very nicely.
Hmm.
I've
Well, they're pretty much egg noodles, is what they
oh,
are.
that's exactly what it is.
Uh-huh.
The translation is like Schwabian egg noodles or something similar
Mm-hmm.
to that.
That'd make good chicken soup.
And oh, actually, that's what the book recommends. Use it for a side. Use it for soups.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I've actually got the book right here next to me. I'm going to go ahead and read out directly from it what the blurb says.
Is it in German?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
it is translated to English.
Mhm.
Look,
I
I'm going to
was
use a little bit of Mendoa on you guys from time to time, but I'm going to tell you what the translation is immediately after I say it. If I'm going to do something to you in German, it's going to be the same thing.
well, I was going to correct your pronunciation on some of that German, but
Well, I'm severely rusty. It's been 20 years since I used it actively.
I can't speak German.
But Spätzle are
Oh, yeah.
closely related to Italian pasta and can be made in various shapes and sizes. Like
Mhm.
Italian pasta, they should be cooked al dente. They are
Mhm.
served either as an accompaniment to a main course or as noodles in a soup.
Yep. And I
Um,
always heard it called a Spätzle. That's what I have
there's a
always
few
heard it
different
called.
pronunciations of it,
Sure.
depending on what region of Germany you were in.
Yeah. No, I knew exactly what you were talking about when you said it, though. It's like, oh, I know that stuff.
Right. My sister was born, oh gosh, I want to say, I'm not going to say where because I'm literally brain farting on what part of the country she was born in. But my sister was born in Germany before my parents transferred back stateside.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Mhm.
dialect of German that I picked up and used even during my time stationed in Kaiserslautern was the dialect from that general region.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be some pronunciations I use for common German words that,
Yeah.
Tommy, you're going to look at me and go, that's not right.
Well, it's. I know there's 5 different dialects of German in Germany.
Jesus.
Yeah.
At
Mhm.
least.
Yeah.
Right.
You've got Saxon, High German, Low German,
Well, okay,
Bavarian. I
but
mean, it's crazy.
before I finish off what I was talking about with the recipes, I'm going to do a
Mhm.
little bit of a tangent that you're going to like on this. If I'm in Germany and I say Grüß Gott to somebody, which is a relatively formal German greeting, in southern Germany, I'm going to be looked at as a stuck-up prig.
Yeah.
In northern Germany, they're going to look at me and go, okay, this guy has got a little bit of culture to him.
It sounds like that's Prussian.
In certain other parts of the country, you can go up and just say hello,
Mm-hmm.
which is just slightly different than the English hello.
Mm-hmm.
and they're not going to give two flying farts. They're going to be like, "Oh, hello," right back at you. You say that up in the north, and they're going to be like, "Oh, you uncultured swine! You do
Yeah,
not
you
know how to
bumpkin.
greet people properly."
You country bumpkin. You're one of those.
Exactly.
That sounds familiar.
It's not unlike what we deal with here stateside when folks from one part of the country go to another part of the country and hello. Say that again. Hi. Try
God,
again. Greetings. Hey, you actually got it right that time.
yeah. Or you're in New York. Hey, asshole.
Exactly. And
Dude,
Broken
yeah,
Pine
Yo.
he brought up Broken Pine brought up a couple of or good point that he said twice.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
That too quickly.
Yeah, antelope would be good that way, other than it tastes like a fucking nasty little goat.
Well, I've never tried it, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I'm not fond of antelope.
Like getting back
No.
to the recipe thing for a second. The chicken schnitzel
Mm-hmm.
or the ginger crusted chicken, whichever variant. Oh, come on. You decide to make
Mhm.
is, in my opinion, best served with a good brown, either with mushrooms or without mushrooms, gravy
Mm-hmm.
alongside the spätzle, and either with corn or a good side salad.
A crusty bread to go with it would be really good too.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
What I've done, what I've played around with it on that is using some or Italian style breadsticks and French
Mm-hmm.
bread
Mm-hmm.
for it, both of which are really good. And
And
if
they're
you have
easy to make.
leftovers of it, of the schnitzel specifically, because one of the things with schnitzels is they're intended to be used as sandwich meat as well.
Mm-hmm.
Take that,
Slap it between
some
two
white
pieces of
bread,
bread.
and some. I like doing this with Swiss cheese, but I've heard it's good with cheddar as well.
Probably provolone would be good also.
I haven't tried that one. I might do that this year because I will make
Havarti
some
would
up
be
this
good.
year.
Yeah, Havarti would be good.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, Munster might also go pretty
Yeah,
well with this.
yeah, Munster
Yeah.
would go well with it.
We're talking about cheese, mozzarella, a good smoked cheddar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you bring up
Gouda.
mozzarella there, Outlaw.
Yeah.
The crusted chicken made out of the, or as it's written in the book,
Mm-hmm.
is really good to do a type of chicken parmesan with,
Yeah,
Mm.
I could see that.
because you put a small amount of marinara on it and a
Mm-hmm.
slice of mozzarella.
Yep.
Serve it
Mhm.
alongside some spaghetti and marinara sauce.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Ooh.
Yep. That would be a really good dish to have.
I'm
Alright.
pretty sure that if Rhino's listening to this, he is listening to this going, "I am going to kill all of you because I
hate
cannot
you
eat any of
guys.
this."
I hate you guys. Hey,
Oh,
hey, I wanted to put this out there with your breading
Yeah.
mixture. If you really wanted to get it to stick good and be crispy, a little bit of cornstarch in it. The cornstarch makes it glue to it, and it is so good. Doesn't change the
Honestly,
flavor.
what my mom has done for years with this is used Italian style breadcrumbs.
Uh-huh.
The book
Those
calls
work
for
really
regular
well.
breadcrumbs, but Italian style with all the different spices and seasonings,
Mm-hmm.
darn near perfect.
But I'm talking specifically to make it stick, a little bit of cornstarch.
Yeah.
It,
I
it,
might try that this year. I don't
it
know.
makes it adhere like you would not believe. Your crust will stay on the meat. It won't peel off like they do sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yep.
But some of the other things that are good to go along with this are corn,
Mm-hmm.
mashed potatoes,
Mm-hmm.
although you want to swap out the um, spätzle if you're going to do potatoes with this,
Right.
or a
Mhm.
nice baked potato with with butter and or sour cream.
That would be really good. Also, roasted potatoes, especially roasted russets with a garlic. That would be really good with that.
Now, I didn't include any of the recipes for cookies or cakes, but there are a few I found that are good dessert options. But that's everyone's got their own taste on it, and everyone's got what they think is the holiday dessert. So we're not
Right.
going to go there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Outlaw, I'm going to throw your recipe up on screen if you're ready for it, and you can talk us through this one.
All right, gentlemen. So as you guys know, here in the South,
Oh, there we go.
we don't. Is it? Hold on. Let me see if it's up.
It is up now.
Okay.
It
All
was
right.
floating
So
on my end.
okay.
can
So
see
as you guys know, here in the South, you know, we're so let's not kid ourselves. I mean, we're not exactly the richest part of the country. So you have to make do with whatever you can if you're going to the grocery store, trying to find those cheaper ingredients. And one of the ingredients that really makes a good dish is rich crackers, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
This is a recipe that's been in my family at least for many years, and we do this for holidays every year. Somebody usually takes on the task of making this, but it's so good that they wind up making at least two dishes of it. So it's
Just
rich.
enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, because this is a really big favorite at our dinner table.
Mm-hmm.
Ritz cracker chicken casserole. So here's a shot at that. Look at that food porn right there, man. Look at that. And I
It looks
promise
like
you,
a casserole.
it is as good as it tastes, man. It really is. So let's get on down here. See what's going to be in this chicken casserole. Now you already know Ritz crackers. Well, there's the picture of the ingredients right there. You know, your shredded chicken, Ritz crackers. I have found that when I make it, and I love the flavored Ritz crackers, the garlic butter Ritz
Ooh.
crackers, or is it roasted garlic or garlic
Uh-huh.
butter, crumbled up in this dish gives it that little bit of extras kick to
I
it.
could, I could see that. Yeah.
They used to have a bacon flavored Ritz cracker that worked good in this too, but I can't find it no more. Let me get on down here, see real quick where the ingredients are at. So here's what we got. You need 10.5 ounces of canned condensed cream of chicken with herb soup.
Mm-hmm.
1 cup of sour cream. Some people don't like sour cream, but it just adds extra, moisture content in there.
Little, yeah,
It gives
little
it
tang.
body. It gives it body
Right.
too.
1/2 cup of sliced green onions. Love
Mhm.
onions. 3 cups cooked and shredded chicken.
Mm-hmm.
2 sleeves of rich crackers crushed. That'll be at your preference if you like the low sodium or, the flavored ones, whatever. They do make a nice honey. Was it a honey wheat Ritz?
Yeah, I think I've seen those.
I've seen them a couple of times where I'm at.
Yep.
1/2 cup, 1 stick salted butter. Now for that, sometimes I like to use the garlic butter.
I'd almost use an
Kerrygold
unsalted.
Kerrygold garlic butter is probably the top notch choice for this.
Well, I'll
And then
tell you,
here's
Kerrygold's your best butter ever.
oh yeah, oh yeah. And then here's your instructions right here. If you guys want me to read it, I can, but it just goes into detail what you need to do.
Yeah, it's pretty standard.
But here's your nutrition facts. Little high on that sodium. I mean, 725.
Well,
And when
that's
I
why
do
I
my
was
cooking,
mentioning use the unsalted butter.
right?
Yeah, that'll help a
And that's
lot.
what,
Mm-hmm.
for
Well,
my show. Go ahead.
let's just be honest here, Outlaw. Pretty much all of the really good recipes that use salt, they basically pour it on there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes
Or
and
shovel
no.
it on.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes and
Yeah.
no.
for my audience, when I do these shows on my cooking channel, I usually tell them to cut out the sodium wherever you can, because a lot of these guys like Rhino, they're watching their weight.
Mhm.
So, you want to cut out any fats, any kind of sodium where you can find it, things of that nature. But I'll put it on the
You just
screen one
do
last time.
salt to
so you guys see
taste.
that.
Right.
You guys can check that out. And then I have one last. It's kind of a weird dessert, but I'll share with you guys if you want to hear about it.
Oh
Absolutely.
God, it's not Jello, is it?
No, no. This is something that there's actually two of them, and I've had both of them. And this is something you'll hear a lot of Southerners make especially if they hunt deer and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So let me go back
Broken
here.
Pine brings up something that you guys might consider.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
that would be a good one to use. The Triscuit cracked black pepper.
Triscuit,
Mhm.
yeah, that'd be good. I haven't tried it with those. Yeah, that would be
It'd be a
good.
little
Outlaw-
less sweet too.
Yeah, Outlaw. You know what would be another good cracker to try with that?
What you got?
The all grain, the all grain buttery or the extra buttery townhouse crackers.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Or club crackers.
Not familiar with
Yeah.
those.
The townhouse crackers actually work a little bit better than a Ritz cracker for many different applications.
Mhm.
For the simple
Mhm.
fact of they're a little more flaky and they're a little more layery like a biscuit.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
So when you break them down,
Mhm.
they work especially great for like if you're doing like smoked oysters, when you're out fishing or hunting or whatever like that for a quick snack. They hold together a little bit better.
Smoked oysters.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah.
Heck yeah,
But
man.
you do something like that. The other thing that I'll do with the townhouse crackers, get the buttery ones, break them up,
Mhm.
and just use those broken up crackers to fry chicken
Mhm.
or fry oysters or stuff like that on occasions when I don't want to do my own homemade breading for like doing fish fries. I'll use that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that would
Hey,
be good
dudes.
with cod for fish and
Good.
chips.
Heck
Yeah.
Crusader,
man.
I hate to ask this question, but given
Yes.
the history of a lot of people in this community, are you sure we really want to do anything that gets flaky on us?
Oh man.
You guys, hopefully, you guys saw what I said in the private chat. I've been trying to bite my tongue and not make smart remarks.
Oh. All
So,
right, but
I'm trying to behave.
They make
Okay,
a cream
so-
for that.
in the south, you guys know that we have a lot of deer down here. We like to deer hunt. A
Mhm.
real popular dessert. It's kind of weird, the name of it. Of course, you can see it right there, reindeer poop. Right?
Mhm.
It's just a play on reindeer. But anyway, this is something you'll see a lot of Southerners make this time of year for the holidays. It's real popular with the kids, and it's just called reindeer poop peanut butter balls. I mean, I'm sure you guys have had peanut butter balls before at some point.
Oh yeah,
All
I've seen
it-
them.
It's
all
a
it
better
is
level.
just
Well, it's a
Go
better
ahead.
level of Reese's cup.
yeah. You have this. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just cooking a big chocolate ball with peanut butter in it, and then we have what's called snowman's poop. I don't know who named this, but these are really good, and that's basically what they look like when they're done, and that's
They-
powdered sugar, I believe.
Yep,
They-
it is.
Mhm.
That looks like donut holes that have been
I was-
powdered in powdered sugar.
I was gonna say that's those look exactly like donut holes.
But here's what's in them, real quick, before Mando moves on. So it's just 6 cups of oats, half cups creamy peanut butter. I guess you could use chunky if you wanted to. 1 cup white chocolate chips, quarter cup butter, 16 ounces mini marshmallows, a
Mhm.
teaspoon of vanilla, and a cup of powdered sugar. And that's pretty much what it makes. It's self-explanatory, right?
Mhm.
Despite the name, very delicious. I highly recommend these if you like a tasty holiday treat. Maybe you're not into pies or cakes for the holidays. Now, me myself, I like a good pumpkin pie.
Sure.
Delicious. But every once in a while, especially when you've got kids or your family's got kids, they like that fun stuff that they like to go in the kitchen and help grandma or mom or whoever work with
Mhm.
making these, and this is what they make usually. I have seen these made with pretzel sticks sticking out of them to make reindeers. Use a little like cherry for the nose, stuff like that, chocolate chips for the eyeballs, stuff like that.
Well, honestly, what you could do if you're making those relatively small
Mhm.
is take pretzels, not the sticks, but the actual pretzels, crack them apart so that way they look like little antlers.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Stick them in there. Take some little chocolate dots that you would put on cakes. Put those for
Mhm.
the eyes, and do like little cinnamon red hots on there
Ooh.
for the nose.
Yeah, that'd be
Make them
good.
little Rudolph cakes.
Mm-hmm.
Rudolph cakes.
Heck yeah. But this was the ones that I had prepared. I mean, I could probably sit down and think of a whole heck of a lot more, but
Oh, I've got a couple other recipes that I would share, but they came from a cookbook that's a lot newer, and it's
Mhm.
a cookbook that actually originated, sadly enough, with the House of Mouse, and we know how copyright happy they are.
Yeah, but there's a special consideration for recipes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't have that book right here next to me, and I'm not going to
Oh,
disconnect.
okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm not
No,
going to disconnect and go grab it.
if you throw that up on the internet, the recipes are kind of like comedy, or what is it? What do they
Open
call it?
source.
Well, it's not treated as open source, but you can't copyright it.
Yeah. Well, actually, you raise a great point. That's one thing I should probably try and look for. My grandmother on my dad's side's been gone for a number of years. She used to make these cookies at Christmas time every year. They're called, I think, peppermint snowball cookies, where you grind up candy canes and you mix the ground up candy cane with pure peppermint oil.
Ooh.
Mhm.
And you
Wow.
mix in it takes a lot of candy canes because you actually mix in some of that candy cane paste in with the dough, and when you slightly bake them. You put a little thumb impression on the inside, and you spoon in some of that candy cane paste in the middle, and put a little piece of dough over the top and finish baking it. Then the coating that goes on the outside for like a pecan finger, it's mixed powdered sugar and candy cane dust. So when they come out of the oven after they bake, you toss them in that, and they were absolutely amazing. I haven't been able to find the recipe anywhere. Everybody in my family I've asked, nobody knows where that recipe came from.
Oh, it's
If-
probably something that she had in her memory that she got from her mother or grandmother, and
or
that she
something
just
that
never
he
passed
came up
along.
with, or she
Or
came
yeah,
up with it.
Yeah, but they were
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
too.
they were absolutely amazing because the inside would bake just a little bit, that the inside, that candy cane paste, would still stay soft and chewy, almost almost like a caramel
Almost like
texture.
almost like a cakey truffle.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And they were really I've been hunting online to try and find this recipe, and I can't find anything remotely close to it.
I would
Oh,
almost think she was using a sugar cookie recipe or shortbread recipe for that as the base
yeah, it's
Um,
possible.
for the dough.
I don't know. But she was born in 1924,
Mm-hmm.
and my grandfather on that side, when we were kids, we used to tease him, call him Cookie Monster, because the dude would just like devour, like he loved his cookies, like and he was born in 1913. And name one family who was going to argue with Grandpa.
No,
A
yeah.
whole lot.
Most
So
of
what
them
he would
didn't
do-
come to dinner anymore.
If they have, if they have any kind of
So-
European descent, or if they have any kind of European ideology, they are not going to be dumb enough to argue with grandpa or with grandma.
Nope.
Right, yeah. Coming from a German family, you argue with Grandma or Grandpa, you pretty much signed your own death warrant.
Oh yeah,
So
you're exiled until you apologize.
right. So even Grandma knew not to argue with Grandpa.
Yeah.
So when we were kids, Grandpa would get up and we'd stay over at my grandparents. He would get up in the morning and go get like boxes of donuts and fresh cookies from a bakery he knew of. And so we would have like whatever we wanted, donuts, cookies, whatever, for breakfast on the weekends and stuff like that. And the one thing he would get would be these old school, old world molasses cookies.
Oh yeah, those are so good.
Mm.
The
it's
original
got-
ginger snaps.
See, those
The-
are ones those are ones that I'm not exactly a fan of, but I can understand why people like them.
Like the soft, chewy with the sprinkled sugar on top of them. He would get
Yep.
those fresh from the bakery, and the weight of the cookie would cause it to stretch and fall apart. It was so soft and chewy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I've been trying to find those.
Good
and
luck.
yeah, I found one bakery that makes them once a year.
Mm-hmm.
Just once a year?
They're a lot of work.
Okay.
If I remember right, they're a hell of a lot of work to get them right.
Oh,
So-
something else you might really like, Nate.
Yeah.
Here, or when I was in Germany, one of the few treats that I came across that I just absolutely loved. In fact, it's part of the reason I gained so much weight over there. Were the
Mhm.
German chocolate truffles.
Yes,
Mm.
those are good.
Champagne
I've never been a
truffles,
fan of
regular
those.
truffles, you name it. I tried it, and I probably inhaled those darn things.
The German ones are
Um,
special.
Yeah,
They
I don't
really
remember
are.
ever having
Yeah.
those either.
Mm.
There is a
Now-
chocolate shop in Joplin,
Okay.
Missouri, that makes something that is about as close to a German truffle as you can find here stateside, and they only
Huh.
make them like twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm sure they're
Um,
expensive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Now, actually talking about this stuff, I'm gonna have to reach out. You guys actually reminded me of something my mom started making about 10 years ago. My mom's side's Polish,
Mm.
and there was a kolache recipe.
Ooh.
There,
Kolache. I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, neither
Oh.
am I.
I'll have to get you the recipe for it. It's a soft, it's a small, light, soft cookie.
Okay.
And it has a little bitty, it's like a yeast, sour cream, flour, and something else. It's like
Mm.
a very, very simple recipe. You more than likely have everything in the house to make it.
Mhm.
And you bake it, you roll it out, cut it out, put on a cookie sheet, put a little thumb impression in the middle of the cookie, bake it for a couple of minutes, pull it out. And it works great with like homemade preserves, like homemade jelly, like strawberry jelly, blackberry jelly, raspberry jelly, peach jelly. You put a little bit of that in there, bake it a little bit longer, if I remember correctly. And it's just, I think, powdered sugar and water for like a drizzle you put over the top of it.
Mm-hmm.
You put them in you just drop it on your tongue, dude. You put it in your mouth and it just melts in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
They're soft, they're delicate. And my mom used to make them when I was a kid. I got to get that recipe from her. Not thinking
Damn,
about
that
it.
Okay.
sounds good.
Tommy D, do
Mm-hmm.
you have any specific recipes, drink, food, whatever that you'd like to go ahead and share with the group?
I don't think I've got any specific ones at the moment. I've been just kind of adding some ideas to everybody else's recipes.
Okay.
If you haven't
Tommy's
noticed.
Tommy's
Okay.
favorite cherry pie made with cherry flavored NyQuil.
No.
Okay,
No.
Crusader,
Yeah.
No.
you've added a couple of recipe ideas, so I'm going to go ahead and bounce over you for a second and see if Sean St. George has anything he'd like to add into this.
I usually don't make holiday stuff, or I don't get asked to. But
I'm
something I
not
do
worried-
get asked
I'm-
to
I'm not
is
necessarily worried about holiday. Do you have a particular recipe in general that you would like to share with folks?
yeah, sure. I don't have like a recipe list or anything, so I'll have to go off the top of my head. It is bacon wrapped jalapeno poppers.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So
God, that's good.
bacon, jalapenos, especially if you can get straight jalapenos, not curved ones. That'll make your wrapping job a shitload easier.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have my own taco seasoning that I'll sprinkle on the inside, plus mesquite that I'll add to it as
Ooh.
well. So the taco seasoning I use is cumin, chili powder, some chili flakes, onion powder, garlic powder, smoked paprika, pepper, and a little bit. No, actually, I don't use salt in that because the bacon is usually salty enough for everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just cut the jalapenos in half. You clean out the core. If you have one of those melon peelers, that helps make the core or digging it out a lot easier.
You talking a melon baller? Those little looks like
Yeah,
an
a
ice
little-
cream scoop.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I
Okay.
hate to say this, but after Pop's reaction to anything with a melon baller, I
I
can't
was
help
just
but
thinking
giggle.
about that as I said it. Yep.
Well, go ahead, Sean.
And then I like to use varieties of cream cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
So if like I'll have like some that are just regular plain, some that are like the garden fresh or smoked salmon. I don't know if you guys get smoked salmon cream cheese down there
Yeah.
in the lower 48.
It's available.
Yep.
Okay.
I get it.
So I'll do that because I'll make a big batch and I'll just switch it up. But I'll take, or once I put in the cream cheese inside the jalapeno, I sprinkle that seasoning on it.
Mhm.
And then from the bottom to the top, start wrapping in bacon. Oh shit, I got hiccups. And then there are a couple of things that you can do once they're done. You could just throw them into the oven like that. But another way to make them crispier is you could throw a little bit of flour on the bacon
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mhm.
because that will soak up moisture and just create a crust on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know how,
Ooh,
like,
nice.
if you just put bacon in the oven, it still comes out like it's still real fatty.
And it's still
Rubbery.
floppy. Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't get hard, doesn't get that crisp to it. Yeah.
Mhm. Well,
Crusader
Rhino.
Nate, you're well behaved because there was like 10.
Well, he's dying right now. I can hear him in the background.
Oh yeah,
There was like 10 moments of that's what
I
she
can
said.
sense his thoughts right now.
Our very own Rhino showed us that speaking of bacon wrap stuff, bacon wrapped pork chop strips
Mm-hmm.
that he bought at the
Ooh.
gas station while on True Blood stream yesterday. Did not know that was a thing.
That sounds pretty good too.
Well,
Well, if you guys ever done the bacon wrapped onion rings on the barbecue,
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
oh, those are
Ooh.
good. Those are damn good.
I've never
Okay,
thought
And you
of
put
trying
barbecue
that.
sauce on them. Yeah, you put barbecue sauce on them. Oh, fuck, they're good.
Never had those.
all right, guys, I hate to do this because this conversation is good. It could last all night, but we have hit the 2-hour mark, which is
Mhm.
about the time I generally like to go ahead and close things down.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna go ahead and have everyone give some final thoughts. Anything that you'd like to touch on that relates to things we've discussed this evening? Open floor. I'm going to bring you on one at a time. As you give your final thoughts, I'm going to drop you off, and we will close out the show.
All right.
Well, Outlaw, we
Alrighty.
started with you, so
You know, this is that time of year, like I said at the beginning of this stream. You know, it's very heartbreaking for a lot of people because you've lost friends and family and loved ones that, you know, always made this time of year special. And, you know, no matter what you eat for the holidays, no matter who you spend it with, you know, that's what I've always come to know holidays this time of year is for family. Those what would you call it? Experiences, that those memories, those fun times that you remember that you never get back. And you know, when you start off life as a kid, it's, I guess, for presents for a lot of them, but you know, the older you get, it's special moments,
Mhm.
family members, right? Spending it with them. So it doesn't matter what you eat, doesn't matter what you drink, it's the people you're with. And I think that's what I remember most about this time of year, even though it's very depressing. And yeah, it's pretty much all I had, man. Guys,
Mando?
I think Mando ducked out to go pee.
Maybe.
He's muted.
no, I forgot I muted myself. I've dropped Outlaw off. You're welcome to stick around for a little bit of an after party, or you can head out yourself. Tommy D, you're next on the chopping block here.
Well, I think I'll go back to the Veterans Day thing, guys. Happy Veterans Day, those that have served. And each and every one of us have served in one way or another. Doesn't matter if it was through military service, civic duty, or just being a good, upstanding citizen and not one of these motherfuckers fighting with cops. Don't let the shit get you down. A day is just a day, and there will be another tomorrow and another one after that until somebody takes us home.
Okay, Tommy, you can stick around or you can duck out. All right, Sean St. George.
Hey. Even though the holidays are kind of a dreary time for some of us, let's look out for our fellow brothers. Um, Maybe check in on them during the holiday season, make sure they're all okay, because this is that time of year where self deletion is exceptionally high. Um, that and drink water.
Anything further?
Nope.
All right, putting you backstage. And Crusader Nate.
Oh, well, just for old time's sake, and I know Sean's expecting me to say it, so Sean, here you go. That's what she said. And I know he's laughing backstage right now. But yeah, I mean, this is that time of year. We all deal with different things. We all look back at the year. We all look at everything that's passed. Veterans Day is something that kind of spurs the holiday season on us. And you got to thank those that came before us, served before us, and the ones that are serving our community now. Think of those guys. Make sure we can leave something positive back here for them when they come back. So 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, we that are here now can leave something positive for them to come back to. So that's something we should think about. And you got to look at being able to enjoy the little things in life, and that can kind of bring you through those dark moments that usually show up at this time of year. But yeah, look at the little things, enjoy the little things, laugh at it, enjoy it. Reach out to brothers from other mothers and all other family in any way, shape, or form, because we're all human, we're all related. So other than that, thanks for listening to my rambling, and I'll sit backstage. Unless I get...
Sorry, I cut you off at the last second there.
That worked perfect. I said, unless I get kicked, and then boom, and it worked flawlessly. So good job
Well,
on
that was
that.
accidental though, so I'm glad you're willing to go with it.
Yep, it worked.
Okay, well, kind of tying into what everyone else has said, it is Veterans Day. If you know anyone who actually or who served, or if you're currently serving, make sure you thank them for what they've done. I'm going to extend that a little bit. If you know anyone in law enforcement, medical, or civil service other than the desk riders, go ahead and extend them the same courtesy that you extend those people who wear the uniform to go and deal with stuff in the military. Because just because your local EMS tech doesn't have to worry about dodging bombs in downtown Baghdad doesn't mean he's got any safer of a job in certain cities. Just because your local firefighter doesn't have to worry about, well, most days doesn't have to worry about an F-16 coming in a little too hot and ruining its landing gear and doing a belly landing, doesn't mean he or she doesn't have a dangerous profession. Thank them. Make sure that they realize they're appreciated just as much as people in the military. And I'm going to challenge everyone that's still listening. If you come across a vet in your day to day, go ahead and tell them you appreciate what they did before you met them. There's a lot that do greatly appreciate that. But that being said, you all stay safe. You have a good one. I'm not going to guarantee that I'm going to do a show here in 2 weeks because it is the holiday season. People are busy. They have lives. If we do a show, It might just be a BS stream. It might be a YouTube-friendly Cards Against Humanity. I don't know yet. But you all be safe. You have a good one. And whatever you do, don't play with sharp, pointy objects while you're running in an icy field. Y'all have a good one. Retorche me, Vode.